session I'm coming up this evening. Apologies for the first one. It was interrupted, you know. Okay, initially I was talking about understanding design process, and I made mention that the design process requires one to understand the language of design, just like every other discipline, which just like every other language, that you need to understand the alphabet first before you now put the alphabets together to form words, and you now begin to combine words to make sentences, and that way it begins to have meaning. But in this stance, it is for designing, and this design is peculiar to architecture design. It can be related to every other one. Remember that in architecture design, you actually have to, yes, welcome to this channel. If you are here, as I always say, let me have you drop a comment and do well to like this video so that as many people as possible can get to see this video, right? Okay, so in architecture, as I said, you need to understand the progression from the elements to the principles of application. Fanta Boss, you're welcome. Right, so when you are designing, as I had talked about in my earlier video, I mentioned for residential building that you will have to have your activity spaces. But I'm going to give a little bit of background before hitting that back up again. For you to design in architecture, you must understand the tools that are being used to communicate design, because design is not text. Design is actually visual, and the language of communicating visual design is visual language, and in that language you have to be able to communicate it for the next person to understand it. So you use elements like dots, line, plane, volume. By the time you move up, you find that these elements of line, dots, plane, and volume will give you what you need to display your intent. If you are all here, kindly like this video straight up. Now, hitting back to beyond, you're welcome. Thank you. So, hitting back to residential design, as I talked about, you cannot do a residential design without considering the activity areas. And the activity areas involves the living area, sleeping area, and the working area. In the order, I took it as living area first, and in the living area we had spaces like the living room, the dining room, the anteroom, in no particular order, and the bar. While in the working area we considered the kitchen, the pantry, the store, as well as laundry and ironing. Then the sleeping area, trust me, you will definitely need convenience, and as well as your bedroom. Even the wardrobe area is what makes up your sleeping area. So having had this, it is clear that you have itemized the spaces required for all the activity areas. When you now have those spaces, you need to consider the relationship between spaces before you can start putting them together. While in this discussion, I would like you to imagine your living room and your dining space, as well as your anteroom. From your anteroom to your dining? Is there any strong relationship connecting them? For all of us here in this live video, I am very happy that you are able to make it back at this moment, and I want to I ask you that if you have not liked, go ahead and like this. If you have not even subscribed to this channel, I think you should also do so if you have not. But if you have, great. That means we are together. You always come up. Beyond, thank you for coming back. Coops up. Yep. You're welcome. RM Clips. Merry Xmas to you. So, imagine the relationship between your anteroom and your dining. I do not think that you have a very strong relationship there. But you may have a strong relationship between your anteroom and your living room. So we'll have to switch at this moment and go a little bit visual so that we can, relate in the visual end for everyone to see what we have here. Okay, so hold on. I'm going to switch to my screen. Great. So for the person that is still here with me, I am going to continue with this, which we had itemized as our spaces within the living area. As I mentioned earlier in my previous live session, that we have anteroom, living room, dining, that makes up the living area. So considering those three spaces, we also added the lobby, which could also be an ancillary space that we can use to link up the next page. Okay, or the next area. So now let's look at the metrics, because this chart you are seeing here is a relationship metrics that we are about to create. And it is after having your bubble and your relationship metrics that you will be able to develop your floor plan. There is no with a floor plan without understanding the relationships. When I finish this, I am going to show you also how you will be able to determine the spaces that you need to provide for each space. And this entire process is what is termed as design iteration. It might require you to be going forth and back, repeating the activity before you will be able to get at the final solution. So you see that design process is not a cut and paste process. It requires critical thinking. If you don't think well, there is no way you will be able to get that right. So straight up here, from this bubble, whoever is here, drop a comment as many as possible. You can also share with your colleagues, share with your friends. Do you want them to understand this process? So look at this space called anteroom. It looks like this space has a strong relationship with the living room. And in your imagination as a designer, how would you want the flow, someone moving from the anteroom? Would you want the person to get into the lobby before the person getting into the living room? If it is so, then this diagram wouldn't look like this. But this diagram was done in this way because it was intended that the user of this space will be able to progress from the anteroom to the living room, passing through a door. The door could be a swing door, it could be a sliding door, and it could also be a pocket door. As long as you are passing through a door to the space, it means that the relationship is a three-quarter relationship. Let me show you what I mean by three-quarter relationship. That means it is not in the same space, so it's not full. If it were in the same space, like now I'm looking at anteroom to anteroom, it means you are within that space. So if you are within a space, it is actually a full relationship. And when it is a full relationship, all these lines will not apply. Can you see what is happening there? And on that note, you can have this as your, you can have this. That means it is a full relationship. That is anteroom to anteroom. It means that you are already in this space. You are not going anywhere. From this space to this space, it is full relationship. And from this diagram, you find that everything along this line, actually along this gradient, is going to be full. Why is it going to be full? Because it is interacting within itself. What did I say? It is interacting within itself. I show you that again. So if you are going to interact between living room and living room, which is living room within itself, what are you going to have? It's a full relationship. So we consider it shaded, right? And dining to dining is the same thing, fully shaded. Lobby to lobby is the same thing, because this is what you are getting. Dining to dining is within itself. Lobby to lobby is within itself. That's why we are having this, right? Okay. Having said that, let's look at the other spaces. So from anteroom, which is up here, to living room, what happens there is that you are likely going to, not likely, anteroom to living room, you are going to pass through a door. And where is that door? How do you represent your door? Like you represent your door with an arch. So this sector or this quadrant is going to be left empty, because that is what you need to pass through. So what do? We cut this up and do this. So that's the relationship between the anteroom and the living room. Now we check the anteroom and the dining. Look at the bubble here. If you are passing through the anteroom, you will enter the living room and you will enter the dining from there. So the relationship, okay, let's even look at the dining room and the living room first. It will determine something for us. Dining and living room. This is the dining and this is the living room. In this case, it is actually an open plan. It flows through each other. That's why we have this large stuff. So you don't have any door interfacing them, but you pass through a space before you enter the other space. That means from anteroom you pass through the living room before you get to the dining. So if you are looking at dining and living room, which is dining here and living room, the intersection between the two is where you have the spot. This is dining, you come this way, this is living room. So it's at this spot. It's within itself. I would give this one to be another full relationship. I hope I'm making sense. If I'm making sense, drop here. Yes, I can get you. All right. Now, the next one is anteroom and dining. You see now you are going to pass through, from anteroom you pass through the living room, which means you are passing through a door to enter there. And you pass through, there is no door again because it's open plan. So it's also 3/4. Are you getting the point? But if you say it is half, once you say it is half in your relationship, it means that you have two doors. So definitely there will have to be another door. Maybe you have a sliding door that closes your dining area from your living area. But if you don't have that sliding door, it's going to be a 3/4 from anteroom to dining. Now let's look at anteroom to the lobby. Yes, you can just pass from anteroom here and enter the lobby without going through any other space. So it's a 3/4 relationship. I hope you are getting the message. I hope you are getting this message. This is very important when you are designing, because it's actually a basis. Designing doesn't mean that you just go up to your sketch pad without thinking. You know, you have to think and consider. So now you see what I'm doing here. I take this to be the board where I am thinking. By the time I finish this, you'll see how it will interplay into the design proper, which we are going to look at it together here. Okay, so the next one here is our lobby and the living room. Okay, from this diagram, this bubble diagram, the lobby and the living room, you pass through the dining before you enter the living room. But fortunately, our dining has a door that leads to the lobby, but our living room, how do we want it? Do we want somebody to enter the living room and enter the lobby directly? We are not thinking so. We think that you pass through the anteroom and you get through to the distance. So if you are taking the anteroom route, it means that you pass through two doors. So it is a half relationship. So lobby and living room, the relationship is half, meaning that we will likely pass through two doors. So this is what you get in that scenario. You get now the dining and the lobby is a three-quarter relationship, definitely, because you are actually going to pass through just one door in our design reasoning. So this is what it has turned out to be. So and this gives us what we call our relationship matrix. If you understand this, or if you're just coming up live, you do well to like this video. If you have not subscribed to this channel, go ahead and do so. All right, once again, my name is Dr. Utibe Akah, and I would like us to continue from here again. So back up. I am back up here. So that is what is termed as relationship metrics, what I just demonstrated to you. Now we are going to further move into defining those spaces by our sketches. There's something called doodling. Doodling is when you use your hand to now start to make the bubble have some shape. So I'm going to do a bit of sketch here, as I always like to sketch. And where is my sketch pad? Can I have my sketch pad, please? Just hold on, let me pick up my sketch pad. Alright, this is not my sketch pad, but this is just a sheet of paper, so I'm going to sketch it here because this is what is handy with me now. So you can see this clear, right? So if you can see this, I'll go back to that illustration where we have on the screen, so that when I show you what I have to show you, you can relate with this. Okay? The anteroom, the living room, and the dining. We are working with only the living area. So, but before you start doodling, let me hit straight to how you can determine the spaces that you need. There's something called accommodation schedule. Accommodation schedule. An accommodation schedule will help you determine the size of the space. How do you determine that? That is what leads you to what we call spatial analysis. We would have done that before coming here, but because this is what I was talking about in the other video, I was talking about determining your spaces and the relationship between spaces. So now, how do you determine the sizes of your space? Now, if you were designing a 3-bedroom bungalow, that design had a number of persons that would, or that it is intended for. So if you're doing a 3-bedroom bungalow for a family of how many? You know, it is very important for you to know the family size. But we are going to assume here that it is a family of 6. So family size. Family size will determine the number of users of your space. We are considering that the house is going to have the father, the mother, and 2 sons and 2 daughters. That's a very balanced family. So if you have 1 father, 1 mother, 2 sons, that is already 4, and 2 daughters, that makes it 6. So this design is assumed to be tackling a family of 6. So it means that your living room space at full capacity should be able to seat 6 persons. Your dining at full capacity should be able to seat 6 persons at the minimum, or rather not full, at least capacity, not full capacity, at least capacity should seat 6 persons. That means if they have a guest, it will increase to 8. So if you are designing, you actually need to allow it to be flexible enough to accommodate an extra person, and considering the fact that family size can increase. So let's in this assumption, let us take the assumption to be that the family will be 6. So we are going to use the minimum size for an anteroom. The question is, who are the users of the anteroom? Is it the father, mother, and the children? If it is, then we will be looking at 6 persons, but it is not them that are the major users. That place will be a passive space for them. So we could take it that as an intermediary space that we use to receive visitors, or visitors wait within such space. It will require you to consider a 1 or 2 persons. So you have 2 guests that come at the same time, and the 2 guests are coming to see maybe the children or maybe the parents. If they are coming to see the parents, it means that those 2 guests will not be received there. They will wait there until they are received in the living room, or they will just end there, and whoever needs to see them there, and they go back. So assuming that the anteroom will be for 3. So anteroom, you write it down. Anteroom. For this particular exercise, you will need to draw a chart. So I may have to show you how the chart looks. So you feel free to come over to my screen once again. Let us do it here together. So I'll have to do the table. You can use any means, like you can use Microsoft Word if you will want to. Like for me, do I have an open one? Let me use a Microsoft Word so that we can just do our accommodation schedule. So you see the kind of tools that you need when you are doing your design. They're enormous. This is Microsoft Word. So I'll just come here, and what I'm going to do here is to insert a table. So I go to insert and click on the table. The number of columns, we're going to have a serial number that will give us the serial number of the space, and we'll have another one that will have the name of the space. Then we'll have another one that will show us the number of users. Right, that's the 3. Then we have another one that will show us the area of the space. Are you getting the point? And maybe another one for remark. So we have used 5 columns. So I have created 5 columns here, 5 columns in my Microsoft Word. Are you with me? If you are with me, just type yes here. If you are with me, type yes here. I'm seeing that we have some persons here, but they are not communicating. They are not communicating. Okay, fine. Let's be a bit interactive, because this is actually a design class, and you have to understand what I'm doing, because I'm doing it just for you. I said the first one here is going to be serial number, so I put in here SN, and the next one is what? Name of space. Great. Any class. Great. Thank you for following me. Thank you for understanding what I'm doing. So I said the next one is going to be what? Name of space, or you just write space, then number of users, and what next? Area required. And remark. Are we clear with this? Okay, I'm writing on just as you say I should go ahead. So if you've done this, this becomes your words, becomes a header. So we make it bold, and we come down. This shouldn't be bold. What follows under should not be bold. So number 1, what space are we looking at? Ante-room. So you write here ante-room. What are the number of users that we considered there? We said 3. Area required. How do you determine that? This is the crux of the matter now. This is the crux of the matter now. Okay? This is the crux of the matter. How do you determine that? Let me tell you how you determine that. You will be able to determine the area when you understand what the space will be used for, the furniture that will be in that space, and the kind of activity that will be happening there. So for an anteroom, remember that it's a passive space. Somebody can pass through the anteroom and go to the lobby area. Perfect. So we need to allow that clearance for passage. If you have a door, an entrance door opening into the anteroom, remember it is always, the anteroom will be the first point of entry after your porch. You are not talking about that porch because it is an ancillary space. So after this porch, if you enter, the main entrance door opens to your anteroom, and that main entrance door will not be the regular 900 door. The main entrance door will be like a 1.2, 1.5. That means if it is a 1.5, it's going to be a double swing of 900 and 600. Are you getting the point here? And if you have that, I'm seeing somebody liking and going. Come on, stay on so that you can learn and be interactive. Wherever you don't get clarity, let me know so that I can give you clarity. All right? Yes. So if you are passing through that 1.5 opening, which is your door, that door, some people might want to keep it at the center, they might want to keep it at the side, but allow that as your clearance so that there will not be any interference with furnishing. So if you have a 1.5 allowing ingress and egress, I'm putting that in my mind's eye. So 1.5 already has been set. Then I will need 2 persons to be able to sit. So I just provide a two-seater couch, right? So in the anteroom, while they are waiting, would you want them to be watching the television, or would you just want them to sit down idle? If you would want them to watch the television, so the distance between a couch and the television, if you have your legs, it won't just be right in the person's eye. So you need a certain distance of about maybe 1.5 meters, 1.2 to 1.5 meters from the leg to the wall where the television will be. You get the point? And your couch, what's the size of your couch? So you see now that you need to do what is called furniture analysis. Furniture analysis will allow you to know the sizes of furniture. This process is also what is termed as design ergonomics, where you consider the furniture, you consider the human beings that will use the furniture, and you consider the space requirements between the usage of the furniture as in the usage of the furniture as the humans interact with the space. Now, with that, you see that your anteroom has a bit of clarity. Then remember that we say we will pass through the anteroom to enter the living room. So what is the likely, orientation? Would you want, as you enter, the living room is by your right or is by your left? Whichever it is, you are going to be tinkering it in your head. I think the person, as you enter, somebody should just be sitting facing the wall, the blank wall where you put the television, and in front of him you can pass and enter the living room, and you have a side table. So I'll show you my sketch now so that you can relate. So I have an opening here, and you have another door that moves to your lobby, and then you have a sliding door that goes to the living room area. Might be a sliding door, it might not also be a sliding door. So with that, can you see this? I was sketching this while I was talking with you. Assuming this is your main entrance door, right? And you can walk through to the lobby. But to this side, you have your couch, and you have a small table, center table. While here, to this side, you walk to enter your main lounge, which will be around this area. But on this wall, you can have a television so that the person sitting here can just view. So you see that movement here? You can move from here to the lobby. You can move from here to the main living room. So this process now, as we had said, we allow 1.5 first, and the couch, 1.2 meters, will take two persons comfortably for a couch. So 1.5 plus 1.2 is how many? That is 2.7. So if you allow a 3 meter, that means there will be space for side table. So if we have the width, or rather the length of your anteroom, 3 meters, which is represented as 3,000 millimeters. Can you see? So this is 3 meters because we have 1.5 here, 1.2 here, and 300. Join them together, you have 3 meters. Then you now also have, at this other end, we said we will allow 1.5 from here to where the seating is. So if we have 1.5 plus our small table of 600, that's 2.1 plus 600, 2.7. You may also make it 3 meters. So if you have 3 meters by 3 meters, if you multiply that, you are talking about 9 meters square. 3 times 3 is 9. So the number of users, we said 3. Area of the space is what? 9 meters square. So I'm going to take you back to the screen so that you see how we input the data. Look at that here. So we'll return back to the screen. I hope we are together. It's very important for me to get you to understand this thing, because it is a foundation of understanding design, no matter how complex the design is. By the time you do this and you master it in your design life, you will not have complications. So we are saying that this is area required. We are looking at 3 times 3. Meters, but we had already said it's 9 square meters, so 9 m square. Remember that this is square meters, so we have to superscript it. It's selected. I come to my home and superscript it. So area required for anteroom is 9 square meters. 9 square meter. So remark, we will not give remark yet. We might say we may want it to be a square, you might want it to be rectangular, so the remark can just be anything. You understand? So, but with this, you have gotten the basic information required for your accommodation schedule. Let's try the next space so that who did not understand can understand clearly. So space number 2 is the living room. This is what you are going to do for all the spaces. You see now that it is not an easy task, but it is very important. And the living room, remember we said it's a family of 6. But remember that we can also have at least 2 guests join them. So let's say full capacity 8 for number of users in the living room. And you need to consider the sizes of your furniture and the activity that will be happening there. As I said, you can find this information in your architect's data if you refer to it by Newfert Architect's data will help you outlining those spaces. And also I have this in a handbook that will be coming out soon, 2025. I have simplified the understanding of these. So do well to join my pre-order when I issue it out, so that you can get the basic steps of getting your design done with ease. This process has been tested over and over again. Personally, I've used it and it has worked and it has bettered landmark projects. So it doesn't fail. So I'm giving you a tip from the master's table. Now, the furniture in the living room, we said we are going to accommodate 8. So you might need a 3-seater, you might need a 2-seater, that makes it 5. And you might need single-seater of maybe 2 single-seaters or 3 single-seaters, and that will make it 8. So when you are designing, so put that in your space. In fact, in this place that we are talking about remark, we might just put the furniture that will be there. You understand? So you can talk about the furniture here. Like here, we'll say we'll have a 2-seater couch. With wall hung. How many inches television? Maybe 41. Are you with me? So for this one, we said we are going to have, so you see, when you consider the spaces that the furniture that you're putting in the living room, you see that it will determine your spaces. For a 3-seater, when we consider this, we got what we had. So for a living room, by the time you do a setting arrangement of, you can do well to go to my previous video where I had shown such layout, but I'm going to sketch quickly here to show you as well. We said we have a 3-seater, we have a 2-seater, and 2 1-seaters. And you have a television, a blank wall for television with a center table. And remember, in any case, you need to have clearances for each of them. So roughly, in such a space, you might be requiring about 5.4 meters to 6 meters to be able to accommodate these functions. Each of these couches have their dimension. So go to your NewFAT and check the dimensional coordinations that have been given there so that you can, okay, look at this. Look at the sketch, right? So we've got 3-seater, 2-seater, 2-seater, 2 single, and 1 single. Likely your dining is going to be here and it will be open to this space, and you have your TV wall here. So imagine this, you are already on the path of getting through. So I will sketch another one to link these 2 spaces. So we are saying that 5.4, I would even say you should allow 6 by 6 meters. So 6 times 6 is 36 square meters for a living room. It's not too much. 36. Okay, let's use 30 square meter. That's 5 meter by 6 meter. So it's 30 square. If you are with me, if you are getting the point, please go ahead and type yes. And you can type in the furniture that will be there. We said you're going to have 1 3-seater, 3-seater couch. So just like that, you go ahead and type the stuff, or you write your stuff as you need them there. And you move to your dining, which is your number 3 space. You now write down here, dining, and it will accommodate how many persons? We said 6. It means that you are not giving anybody food when you are coming to, when they come to your house. So if you look at a table of 6, it means you have 2 persons at the side, at one side, 2 at the other side, then you have one at the ends, and that gives you 6 number persons. Let's look at a typical example of that within our screen. So I'm going to quickly go into my Akah software, and I will open up where we have that furniture so that you see it with your eyes how it is. It's been preset. So we take the object tool, and from the object tool Let's see. We will go down to furniture. I think I will use the one that's a layout already. Let's see. Furniture layout. We have a dining here, and this is perfect. Can you see? This is a dining for. This is a dining for the number of persons we have assumed, and it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I won't bother you with so much settings, but if you say okay here, are you seeing the model view of it? See how it looks? See how it looks in elevation? See how it looks on plan? So that's it. Let's just drop it here and you see what you require. This is it on our model space. So if you want to put this in a space and have clearance, let's look at the dimension of this. Is this showing clearly for you to see? If this is clear enough for you to see, please drop a yes. Just let me know if it is clear enough for you to see. Okay, I believe it is. So if it is clear enough, let us look at what size that it is. So I take my dimension tool. That's, you see where my dimension tool is. I take up my dimension tool and we look at the length and the breadth. That's 1.8 meters by, that's the minimum size of the table and the chair arranged, and that is when the chairs are not being pulled out. So if you have 1.8 by 2.6, someone should be able to pass 1.8 by 2.6. Someone should be able to pass at the back here. So if somebody is passing here, one person walking freely to pass is about 700 and, okay, let's say 600. It's going to be tight. But if the person is carrying something, so look at, demonstrate this for you to see. If you are carrying something with your hands this way, that means if you have done this study in your first semester, or wherever you are watching me from, if you have done the anthropometric study, you will understand that understanding of human scale is paramount to designing spaces for human. And the study of the human scale is called anthropometrics. So it means that when you are doing your design process, you need to be able to do anthropometric study, showing if somebody is sitting down, what is the space required for somebody sitting down and eating. That is what will determine, in this case, that's what is going to determine, like I'm going to show you here. Okay, trying to see my screen, which I'm going to take you up over there now. Okay, look at this. If I cut a section through this, what is going to be I hope you're with me. So SO1 section. SO1 is here. Look at that. As we're doing this, I'm not at the insert story, so when we come to computer-aided design proper, I will show you about this. But I'm trying to use this to illustrate how you do your design. If you are to put dimensions to check this, you understand that from to this point, are you seeing that you need 100 to accommodate your sittings? And we said that from here to this point is 26, and you need additional space of about 900 here and 900 here. So if you add, okay, let's say 750, 750, that's 1.5. So if you add 1,500 to 2,600, what would you have? Sorry about that. Sorry about that interruption. I'm still back here with you live. Back here with you live and direct. So, sorry that I got. So if you add that up, you're going to have 4,100. Living room, we said we considered 5 meters by 6 meters, and here you require a minimum of 4.1 meters width. So you are good. If you give it 5 meters, you are luxurious. You are good. If you give it 5 meters, you are luxurious. But the minimum required by length is 4.1 meters. Then by width, let's look at the width of this section. This is a very interactive. In fact, I will call this a workshop, a design workshop. So we are going back to our 0 series so that we can relate with the other section. So for this side, we have agreed that we need we need 4.1 meters after we have added our clearances. So if we do 750 here and here 750, okay, and you check your you see what I said? That you need a minimum of 4.1 when you allow the clearance for someone walking by the side. The same thing is what you do to this other end. If you want to consider the clearance that you require, you also allow about 750, which is just to let someone walk past. And the same to this other side. $750, right? If you check the dimensional requirement or special requirements after considering the clearances. You need 3.3 meters. So check it out. 3 by 4 is 12. So minimum space requirement is 12 square meters. And you return back to your accommodation schedule and introduce what I said, 12 m square. If you like this, give me a herald. So you make it a superscript. And what is needed in this space? Remember, we didn't even add any other thing. For this space, all you are providing for is what? You are providing for the dining table and 6 chairs. So dining table and 6 armless chairs, because I don't think you need an armchair. So you need 6 armless chairs. All right. So with this, you have accommodated the 3 spaces. This is what you are going to do for every repetitive stuff that you're going to do. So the next one there is number 4. I'm taking time to buttress this, to outline this, so that you don't have problems. If you come back to watch this video, there is no way you have issues. Lobby is transitional, so we consider in the lobby the person going to pass through this lobby. 2 people might be passing side by side, and they might also carry things in their hands. Imagine somebody coming in from the ante room with a bag of maybe school bag, and the other one also coming with the bag that he came back from he or she returned from the market, and is entering the ante room to pass through to get to the kitchen in one way or otherwise. So let's say the lobby, we are looking at 4 persons, chaotic, moving and carrying things. So we are looking at the flow of, you might put number of users dash, because you cannot say the number that will use that space at a time, but you are looking at 2 persons moving side by side, and what is the space required? The minimum is about 1.5, so that nobody hits the other. But you wouldn't want your walls to be dirty, right? So it also depends on how long. So you don't also give the minimum area required, because you don't want to waste spaces. You want to only give lobby as that required. Are you getting the point? In designs, lobby doesn't pay rent. Take note, lobby spaces doesn't pay rent. So if you go and design and you allow a lobby in a residential building to be bigger than the master bedroom, that is a big problem. It means that the lobby will start charging rent for the lobby. Somebody will tell you, I will sleep in the lobby. all right. That's just been a little bit hilarious. Okay, so now this is it. We have been able to bring that out, and I would want to hear if you have any question, or if there is anything here that is not clear for you to understand. If you do not have any questions, I would be waiting for those who would watch later to drop their questions in the comment section. And when I'm coming up live again tomorrow by 7 p.m., I will deal with those things. And I want to tell you that don't miss these sessions, because you will learn so much from what I will be taking you through here. Remember that we have not sketched fully to design the building because it is a process. But I've shown you the things that you need to consider while you are coming up with your design, and it is as intuitive as we have just done it. So you can go ahead and task yourself with the remaining task of coming up with the metrics. So if you have looked at the metrics that I've prepared in this video, go ahead and prepare another metrics. So if you're just coming in now and you're liking, yes, let me just know your name and I can give you a shout out. But also feel free to go back to the metrics I have prepared in this video, study it, listen to what I've said, and try to do that with any space that you want to design. As long as you have identified the space, bring it out and look at the relationship between one space and the other. The relationship is very important because it will help you to understand how you put those spaces close to each other. So the next time we're coming up here, we are going to be looking at what we have done here and how we can move from one space to the other. And thank you very much. I really appreciate your Christmas wish, and I wish you a Merry Christmas too. I know. I trust you're doing well, Nsaya. Thank you. All right. So feel free to drop those things, and let's try to do other spaces in your own personal time. If you have difficulties, feel free to come and ask me here when I come up live tomorrow. Okay? Then when we come back again, we will build up on this. If you are just watching me now, do well to like this video, and if you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. We will have a time again tomorrow. I wish you a very big Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. And let us also understand that the design process is evolving. We should not be so rigid. Adapt to new technologies. Learn how to communicate through the online space, because it will help you reach out and collaborate with people as far as where they may be. Thank you once again for watching me. My name is Dr. Utibe Akah. See you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Bye for now.